Good morning, everybody, and this is your DAX day trade setup for today. So a pretty big day yesterday, and some more negative noise coming out of Russia and Ukraine at the moment. Hasn't really impacted the DAX futures. I think that was priced in yesterday. But what I want to point out here is this is your weekly zone where we've had buyers coming in, and bear in mind that it hasn't really been much structure. So in other words, it hasn't a weekly structure. You would expect this kind of action off an area like this here, at 14,170. Didn't really materialize. Look at the oscillators in the weekly, really starting to get into an area where I want to be looking for value. Look at this here. You can see there. So that's kind of the scenario that is starting to brew. Trend is still up ultimately on the weekly, but we do have a potential head and shoulders break here. So 14,815 is the line in the sand, and we've had a daily close below that. So there's our daily close below that structure. That was a previous swing low, and that validates the head and shoulders. But the way we're supposed to play this is wait for the pullback onto structure and then another move to the downside. So the bigger picture here is something like this, and I'm going to spend a bit of time here before we get down to the daily, because this is fairly significant. And if you look at where this head and shoulders targets, there is a next bit of weekly structure. So scenario that I anticipate is a move onto 14,170, a pullback onto some form of structure, whether it's all the way back up here on the weekly or sort of on a daily or 4 hour or 1 hour even, and then another attempt to get through for 14,170. Once we're through that, we are coming down. There is a juicy gap down here as well. Juicy weekly gap is one a little bit further down, but that is the ultimate target as far as I'm concerned. 13,287, possibly as low as 1,300. That is the scenario that we have brewing at the moment. Okay, but bear in mind, and there's always a but here, isn't there? Because the markets are designed to go up, as I always say. They're not designed to fall. So every time we're falling, there are hundreds, if not thousands of people, maybe even millions of people in the globe that are watching this and saying, oh, where is fair value? Where's a good area for me to invest in this and make some money? Okay, bear in mind, companies are around to make money. You know, this is different to Forex, where you've got a direction. You can get into a long-term trend up and down. Typically with the markets, you're going to get into long-term uptrends and short-term downtrends, which are normally just a reset of some sort before continuing to the upside. So yeah, just keep that in the back of your mind. Don't anticipate that this thing's going to keep falling. This could also just be an exhaustion bar. But the fact that we've got a massive daily close below the previous swing high, or swing low should I say, is fairly significant. Okay, so we're looking for structure. Can't be jumping in short down here. Look at the oscillators. Don't want to be jumping in short when the oscillators are like that. Just a recipe for disaster. Hindsight being a perfect science. There is a double top, and let's just get this level fine-tuned. And there's a neckline. But also you can see rejection of the 155, and oscillators group the upside, crossing, and down we move. So now we did look at this last week, and it just continued, and so it was structured here. You can see if I draw a channel here, it was very much structured until dropping below the channel and accelerating away. So that could be the end of it, or could be a bit of a pullback for another attempt down, which is what I'm expecting. So the DAX is something which we really need to pay attention to, and only unfortunate part to this is there are only two potential areas, and the one area I'm not too keen on, and that's 14,600. Look at my oscillators. Look how far we are from the moving averages. I want to be trading off the moving averages and off structure. So you can see there was two decent areas. That was a pretty decent area yesterday morning, in hindsight. And I was sitting on my hands, being a public holiday in the US, and not paying attention. But if you did get in there, we did say yesterday you're looking for you're either looking for support on that area there, but you're also looking at all of these tails for an area to be bouncing off. And you can see there was the previous swing low, and this is a classic example of what I mean by the inside tail. That was the inside tail, and then there's another one here which is sort of a smaller opportunity, but that to me was a decent area for a short. And if you get down to the 15 minutes, you'll see something even more interesting. So you see all the moving averages are pointing down. We're at the 155. There's a inside bar. Look at the structure on the 15 minute, pretty solid. Okay, and look at my oscillators. So check mark there for your entry. Is that structure? Yes, structure. It's a diagonal trend line and horizontal. Check number 2, and then an inside bar, which is one of the 3 patterns we look for, which is inside bar, pin bars, and engulfing bars. And break of that was your entry. On top of it was your stop loss, and look at the move that you got out of that. Okay, so same scenario today. I think just bear in mind on the hour, as I pointed out, you are far away from the moving averages. And whenever you're going parabolic to moving averages like this, there's always a probability of a pullback before a fall. So you're looking for pullback onto structure, and then you're looking for an opportunity to potentially ride this thing down for a bigger move. And I'm anticipating 14,170 at least. So first area is 14,600. If that does not hold, you need to look to the left, and you need to look for the next area. And I see there is another opportunity right here at 14,724. Remember, I'm on the 15 minute. So just scroll across. You're going to have to scroll across very far. There's quite a bit of structure here at 15,220, 15,135. Nothing that we want to pay attention to up there. And you see we've got to go back all the way to, let's just do this on the 3 hour. Okay, so you can see this area here, 14,610, is a fairly decent area. And there is another little level below that. I'm going to just take one of these, and you can see there's another bit of an area here. So, all right, guys, I just want to tidy this up so we know what we're talking about. 14,610, 14,531. Those are the areas that we want to pay attention to, and just see how that lines up. So I think this one's a little bit too close. So yeah, that's kind of the view I'm looking at. 14,610, definitely looking for an opportunity there. 15-minute chart, pretty much looking for the same setup that we got yesterday on the lower time frames. Not looking for it on the hour because we are extremely exhausted on the hour. If we get a bigger pullback up into 14,837, that would be a fairly decent opportunity. But to me, an even better opportunity would be a move back into this channel. Somewhere up here at 1500. So a retest of 1500 is definitely going to get us moving back to the downside. Anyway, that's kind of my view at the moment. Definitely not looking for longs. I think that's a bit foolish, even though we've got bits of structure forming. I think we've got bigger targets or magnets to the downside. So pullbacks are to be sold into. And until we get back into this weekly range, which I somehow doubt. So until we get back above 14,837, that is going to be massive resistance. So any move back into that area, I'm definitely looking for a short for a bigger move down. But until then, we're just going to have to be patient and wait for the structure as it appears. If we don't get any moves, if we don't get any structure this morning forming, or any pullbacks, then I anticipate you're probably going to just range for a bit during the pre-market, and then break below the lows of yesterday, and you're going to target 14,170 and possibly a little bit lower than that. So yeah, lots of opportunity here. As you can hear, lots of opportunity. Wait for the pullback for a short, or wait for the break of the range, and the range is obviously right there. And the beauty about that, the break of that gives me 140 point risk to 200 point gain. And that's kind of my view today. So well worth watching the DAX this morning. Hope it helps, and we'll catch up with you tomorrow morning. Cheers for now.